Hey guys, it's Lawson here. It's been a minute since I've last done a video. I'm sorry about that, but you know, we'll be back in full action once the next league get announced and all that good stuff. But I wanted to try out Herald Thunder, autobomber. It looked super awesome. I think everybody might have seen a video where it's like, look at it and like, damn, that looks really cool. So quickly, I want to show you just a white ATL map. Don't take this too serious. We got some other fun maps coming up. But I want to show you why it looked appealing, and after this map we'll talk about why it looked appealing, and I'm gonna tell you guys why I dislike it, why I could never recommend it, and kind of why I wasn't really motivated to make this this guide. But like, look at it, right? We're running an ATL. This is a white map. Everything dies instantly. It's great. It looks like we're just, you know, it's like a hands-off build. You click some flash, you run forward, and everything dies. As long as everything dies this fast, the build is really good. But we're gonna talk quickly about why this league more than ever it's more appealing is because of Kane of the Kulamag. This staff is about like 10 exa for a 6 link with the +3 support gems, with multiplier and increased lightning damage. And that's pretty fun for Herald Thunder, right? Because I've tested this out. Normally you would need a staff like this. A staff like this costs like 300 exalted orbs. And to make it better than this, or a lot better than this, you would also need a +3 impulses. So to get something that's better than this, you have to spend somewhere between 450 and 650 exalted orbs for the staff and a +3 to +4 impulses, which is really expensive. So just by adding this staff to the game, it makes this build a lot more affordable. The way it kind of works is we trigger Herald Thunder, we do damage to ourselves, then we have a bunch of cast on damage taking setups. It just like keeps the Herald Thunder going forever. And that's kind of the gist of it, right? We click Herald Thunder. Herald Thunder does damage to herself because that's what these rings does. And then we trigger all the cast and damage things, and then we just have Herald Thunder forever. But what I think makes Herald Thunder really bad is obviously we're lightning damage, so we shot. So my two main mapping builds this league have been Winter Orb and has been Tornado Shot with cold damage. When you deal cold damage, you freeze everything, right? And freezing everything just means it's extremely safe for mapping. When you're thunder or lightning damage, you just shock things, and that makes you deal more damage, but it doesn't do very defensive. Also, when you have this Herald Thunder build, you only really target one thing at a time. So when everything dies instantly, it's great. Okay, my loot filter is kind of trolling because I have a leveling one on. But when there's 2 or 3 or 4 big targets up, which I was hoping to get in this harvest, because I rolled the little bit hard map, but I guess we're getting a little bit lucky. So now it looks great, right? But as soon as you get, let's say, 3 or 4 big plants, then the build becomes significantly worse, right? It's only good as long as you can blow up the entire pack at the same time. So this, I mean, okay, so far we've been pretty lucky. But as you can see, these harvests are really easy. There's no big plants, but it's fine. I have twin buses up. But basically what makes this build bad is the fact that as long as there's multiple strong targets up, then the build becomes extremely lacking. So now, for example, we see the twin buses. If one of these guys cast, we're dead, right? Let me just change. I have my leveling. I was doing some leveling practice. Let me just change to Nemesis filter. There we go. As soon as there's multiple hard targets up, it becomes very hard to play this build. So I was trying to do a bunch of Nemesis farming, or try to do Metamorph farming. And that's when it starts to falter. I think we'll end on the Nemesis map. We'll just try to do a Metamorph, and I'll show you what it looks like on Metamorphs. So TLDR, it's very squishy. It does great as long as the game is not hard, right? But if you want to farm any like harder content, then it starts to falter, right? Just because when there's multiple strong targets up at the same time, it can't it doesn't target anything, right? It just shoots things randomly. And when I was farming Nemesis and Waldo, there's a lot of proximity shields, and normally when you have a build, you go inside the proximity shield, you can kill it instantly. But like with Harbingers and Waldo, there's so many targets that Herald Thunder doesn't target the totem straight away. It's doing the proximity shield, so you kind of have to stand in there for a couple of seconds, and it just ended up dying a lot on this character compared to all my other characters. When you're fire, at least you have ignites, and you have ignite spreads, and then you have insane AoE reach. Here, basically our radius is about as far away as our cursor, so we always have to be within like between us and the Stormbrand to do damage, so you always have to be extremely close to all your targets to deal damage, right? There's no safe way to do it. I think fire is pretty awesome because of ignite. Ignite just does damage right all the time, and it's pretty easy to get off. But lightning damage and not being good, I don't know. I just don't think lightning damage is the way when you're doing maps, at least. When I was doing Midtermost, I was having a lot of troubles because, you know, the big guy spawns, we don't kill him instantly. Then all the small ones spawn, and it's like, there's no way to target things down, and we don't get any defensive. So when I was doing, like, let's say 50 maps of these in a row, I would almost die to half of them because it was just really hard to target it all down. Now, it is functionable. I just think there's other builders better, right? And if you want to min-max it, it becomes so expensive. But I don't know. I think it's really fun as long as you don't do challenging content. But as soon as you like try and do a lot of really hard content, it gets very frustrating that it only does like 1 or 2 thunder strikes at a time. And it has a lot of weaknesses, as I said, multiple really strong targets, proximity shields, and its range, and the fact that you don't like freeze things, so yeah, you know, the reach is so slow, so you always have to be on top of things, is what made me dislike this build. And its price, it's not a cheap build. Even with the Cane of the Kulamag, the good multi lightning gems are really expensive. So if I were to do this on any other character, right, like all this would be dead, but now you see this proximity shields, and I'm like running around, and it's just really hard to get into them. And you like to do damage to anything, you literally have to stand and walk on top of it. So if you don't have a hit hunter, you don't have a lot of hit hunter buffs, the build just falls off. In my opinion, I have way more fun with builds that have way more AoE, way more defenses and things like that, right? But I thought this build looked really cool with the Cane of the Kulamag introduced to the game. I thought it could be good at an affordable price, but for how squishy we are and the flaws I've tried to explain, I haven't died now, but when I was playing a lot and I rolled multiple mini maps, I would die to a lot of these canyons and a lot of the alleyways and even Atos, right? If the maps were a little bit harder rolled than the one I had, or you got a little bit unlucky with harvest, you would just die. So I think the build looks really cool, but for its price and with how many weaknesses it has, I do not recommend it. I would definitely do the Fireburst one in this league, and if Fireburst is still good next league, it's going to be really awesome because, you know, it's the exact same concept. You just do fire damage, and the thing with that is it has insane range, right? You kill one mob and it can clear literally 4 screens ahead. When you're doing bosses, for example, you just place a Stormbrand, you don't use Solar Thunder much, so you just kill them with ignites, right? So you can place a Stormbrand on a boss and then you can run away to do damage. But with the lightning version of the build, you always have to stand on top of him, and you just don't have any like defensive layers, and it becomes really awkward, and it's very easy to die because you're super squishy. Now I do want to say, if you are a witch, a Templar, or an assassin, you can get a little bit better tree than I have. If you're there, you can basically go and get the Zealot's Oath, and with Zealot's Oath you can take the jewel called Replica, Fragile Boom, and Fragile Boom basically gives you a lot of regen whenever you deal damage to yourself, which we do with our rings, and that just will give you crazy energy shield regen, right? And that's why you need to have Zealot's Oath, so all your life regen goes into ES regen, and that makes it a little bit more comfortable, especially on buses. I can try and run a Maven, but I think it's gonna be terrible. But with the Fragile Boom or Replica Fragile Boom, the buzzing aspect comes a little bit better in this, but I mean, even then, it's... I just think you're too squishy, and you have to, like, it doesn't have any defensive layers for a mapping character, and I don't know. I explained why I dislike the character. So whereas it looks cool when you play it a lot, it just becomes extremely annoying that you have to go stand inside of all these things, right? If I'm playing my bow build character, I can really stand over here and kill everything, and everything dies way faster. When I was playing Discharge, you know, the same thing. Like every other build I played just have way better clear than this. So whereas it might look good to you, you also have to keep in mind I have a hit hunter on, I have like these mirror worthy tier boots on with triple elevator stuff and things like that. And with all these things that I tried to put on, even when I put on this 300 exalted old staff, it just didn't feel good, right? When you invest heavily into a character, you want to be like, yo, that feels really, really satisfying. And I just never had that with this. So if you want to try an autobomber, I would do the fireburst version. I haven't made a guide on it, but there's tons of good ones. Lots of people have played it this league, and if it doesn't get nerfed, we'll probably try it out next league instead. So what I wanted to say with the gem is when we do single target and we do busing, we lose our ES, and I mean we only have 3k HP, but with the fragile boom, it will sustain your ES quite easily, right? I mean, we're just gonna kill ourselves now, and that's what you can avoid with fragile boom. But I wouldn't make a squishy, super fast Herald of Thunder autobomber to make it into a busing character either way, right? So I'm just saying, if you want a little bit more tankiness and you feel like you're dying because you can't sustain your shield, you can try and go Seal Toad. Yeah, I think this character has too many weaknesses. So if you stuck all the way through here, don't waste your time. I don't think it's worth it. If you will enjoy it and you have fun with it, that's cool. But for me, I was so disappointed. I don't recommend anybody does the Thunder version of Herald of Thunder autobomber. And I hope you guys learn from my mistakes. You know, if you like it, that's cool too. I just think there's way better options. I played so many. Those are way more fun this league. And guys, if you liked it, leave a like. Leave a comment. If you think I'm a dumbass, let me know. I don't mind. And I hope you guys have a good day. Bye bye.